Hi, this is Christopher, Chief Software Architect at G7CR Technologies India Private Limited, and also the Chief Software Architect for HAPA. Hi to all of you out there, and thank you for watching this video. I'm going to take you through a small little presentation. Won't take more than 10 minutes of your time on how to use HAPA and what is the best part of HAPA and how you can benefit from it. Let me go to my URL here to pick up the HAPA website. That's what I'm going to basically do to start off with. So I go to my URL and I click on the main page to log in. We've taken care of everything here. You will notice we do have your username and password. We've tried to ensure that the username is your employee ID. This ensures adaption. It ensures that your employees remember their employee ID. In fact, to be frank, I never remembered my employee ID until I started using HAPA. So I put in my employee ID there. I then go in for my password. And we also got a small little test here to ensure you're human. We're trying to ensure that we don't get people to crash our sites. We don't get robots coming in and basically crashing into the site by trying multiple logins, which happens very often to any sites which are basically in the public forum. So I ensure that I'm human and I log on to the system. Now guys, the beauty of this system is that everything that you have to do is available to you on this single page. You don't have to go hunting for all of these pages here to do anything. We have a lot of links here, a lot of pages which you can use to initiate things, but to most of the users, initiation will not be required. All you have to do is most probably just ensure that you have this page, your pending approval tasks as 0, and also your pending completion tasks at 0. That is all you require to ensure that you're doing well and you're completing all your tasks. Of course, initiation comes into place when you want to initiate something, like maybe you want a leave application. So then it shows you your leave bucket balances. If you have anything, you can click on the apply for leave, select the type of leave, and of course, so we'll only give you the types of leaves for which you do have a leave category balance. You won't see the other categories here. You can choose the category, you can choose whether you want a half day, full day, and you can go ahead and make that leave application. This is basically what you have in the self-service. This is available to everybody, and once this leave application is made, it will go into the pending approval tasks for someone to approve. I do have some tasks here pending approval for some leave applications which have come in, so I'm going to basically go and look at one of them right now. So I click on this button here to basically try and have a look at who's asking for this leave. I've got one of my developers who's asking for a half-day leave. I can decide now whether I want to approve this or I want to reject this. In this particular case, I am the second approver, so this is basically been already approved by his reporting manager, which is mentioned here. I happen to be the second approver here, and in our company we have 2 approvers for leave, the reporting manager and the business unit head. So I'm the second approver here as the business unit head, and I just click on approve or reject to ensure that leave application is through. We also have some requests here for pending hire. Also, as the head of a business unit, I need to approve anyone who's joining a particular business unit. So I've got 2 requests here pending for that approval. I click on this button here and it takes me to the details of the employee who's being recruited. I see here the location which he's going to go in. I'm also looking at which business unit he's going to go into. I'm looking at which date he's supposed to be joining. I'm also looking at what his CTC is. And again, I have the option of either saying approve or reject. I'm going to go ahead and approve this for you here and show you what actually happens. I put in some comments here, and once I approve this employee for joining, automatically task gets created to the respective departments to basically go ahead and do the remaining formalities. For example, my admin department will have one task getting created to the head of the admin, and he will have to basically now assign it to any of his subordinates to allocate the workstation, to create an email address, and whatever other admin formalities are required. Now in this particular case, I also happen to be the head of admin, so let me just check to see whether I've got some tasks pending for me here, so that I could basically go and assign that and show you what happens next. I don't have that in my pending completion tasks as of now. But what is the difference between approval and pending? Let me tell you that, and I will then log in as another user to show you the other possible tasks. These are the only tasks I currently have in my system, which is pending for me. There were a couple of hire tasks. I'm going to also go ahead, look at the second hire. We've got another hire who's going into the Airtel postpaid team. So I'm going to approve this too. I'm going to put in a comment there saying this is approved, or I can say good to go, and I click on OK. My job is done. We also have some tasks here in terms of basically what I would basically say completion tasks. Now, completion tasks are a little different from approval. In the approval and reject tasks, all you have to do is say approve or say reject after looking at it. But in the completion task, there might be some work that you might need to do apart from basically just approving and rejecting. One of the tasks which every reporting manager will have is basically the leave management task, where you will go ahead and basically approve the leave of your employees. Now, it takes me straight to the leave without intimation bracket. Because I don't have any employees on this particular day with remote attendance. I don't have any employees with incomplete attendance. Now, remote attendance is when a particular employee could go in here. Let's say he's going to work from home or he's going to work from a client location. He can go to the remote attendance, specify the location, specify why he's going to be not in office on that day. Either he's in the client place or he's going to work from home, or there's some other reason, or he's in training, and here he can put the estimated number of hours and he can swipe in. Now, once he swipes in, this button would change to swipe out, which means he can also basically log out from the system. And in case someone has remote attendance pending for him, so when I approve it, I will get those employees who've got logins for remote attendance right here, so that I can view it, see whether that was valid or whether the employee was authorized to basically attend remotely, and then approve the attendance. I also have here employees with incomplete attendance. Now, incomplete attendance, guys, is see, we rely on your access card system or your biometric system to collect this attendance, and sometimes there are missed values, or we don't have an in, or we don't have an out, or we have multiple ins with missing outs. In those cases, we flag those records as incomplete attendance, telling you that we are confused, we don't know what to do, so we don't know what exactly was this guy's login time, and we let you decide there whether it is 4 hours or 2 hours or 8 hours, so you can set the number of hours you think the guy actually worked or the resource actually worked on that day. We also show you those who were half day present, so you can approve that half day present. This is without leave application, of course. Now, normally this would happen is because we detected that he didn't work the full hours. If your minimum working hours was 8 hours as per your shift, and we found only 6 hours of login time for this employee, the system will automatically mark him as a half a day. Now, whether to keep it that way or you want to basically give him a full day will be in the control of the reporting manager. Interestingly, we also keep track of these changes that are being made, so you will be able to see further reports in terms of telling you how many people really overrode the system attendance, how many reporting managers overrode it, and how often do they do that. You also look at employees on leave but present. So we've thought of everything here. Now, maybe someone made a valid leave application in the system. It was approved, but unfortunately on that particular day, there was an emergency and he had to be called back, and the employee came back. So here we will show you those employees and ask you what you want to do with this guy. Do you want to cancel the leave application and give him back his leave bucket? Or do you want to basically let that leave stay and mark this day as a comp off, which means he gets one comp off credited and he can apply for this leave at a later stage? So you can decide what you want to do with that. You notice all of these four are blanked out for me because unfortunately on this day, the 9th, I don't have any employees fitting into any of these categories. I do have an employee, however, who's taken leave without intimation, which means the system did not have a record for his leave, and he did not come to office. What I can do now for this employee is I can say, yeah, I remember he called me. There was no application in the system, but he called me. He told me he's going to be on leave, and I told him it's okay. So I can go to the leave here and specify which type of leave. Maybe it was sick leave. I can specify the sick leave, put in my remarks and say, okay. I can also basically say, no, he was present. Most probably this system messed up and the system never marked his attendance, but he was present, so I can mark him as a half day or as a full day, or I can simply say, yes, the guy never intimated me, but he never came to office that day, so I can mark him as not intimated. It's interesting to notice that if this happens for based on your global setting, if this happens for a consecutive number of days, the employee will automatically be terminated as voluntary abandonment of duty. That's how we will treat the employee, and we will show you those employees in our next tab. And we don't let you go to the next tab unless you basically finish these tabs, because there's a particular order in which you need to do these things. So once you do this, then it takes you to the voluntary abandonment tab and shows you the employees who have most probably marked for voluntary abandonment of duty, people who have been taking leave consecutively for a fixed period of time. This could be 3 days or 5 days based on your global setting that you actually set when you initiate the system. And you can decide here whether this is what you want to do with this guy, whether you want to terminate him, initiate termination, or you want to basically wait for a few more days for him to come back, since maybe he's intimated you that he will and there was a personal emergency. And finally, we'll give you all the employees together in the final approval where you can approve it. So that's your attendance approval. A very important part, because your payroll will be generated based on this. And you can see it might take you around 5 minutes to go through these records and do it. But that's all it takes you every day if you're a remote reporting manager to go ahead and complete these tasks. We also understand that there could be times when you're going on long leaves or short leaves where these tasks cannot be done by you because you may not have access to the system or an internet connection from home. So what you can do is in your self-service, we've given you a component here called Delegate Tasks. I can select some of my tasks or all of my different tasks which I have, and I can say I want to delegate this to one of my resources. I'm delegating it to one of our resources, there's Sapna, and I can say from which date to which date I would like to delegate this. I can say delegate immediately. If I do this, then it automatically takes today's date. I can say all pending tasks too. Now this means if I have any tasks in my bucket which is currently pending, they will also move out of my bucket and go to Sapna, and she will have to complete these tasks because I'm delegating them to her right now. Okay, so I can delegate these tasks to any of my subordinates in case I'm not going to be accessible to the system. And we can always come back and revoke those tasks that we have delegated. In case I've had any delegated tasks here, I can revoke them, or I can extend the delegation. Let's say I decided to stay out of office till 4th, but unfortunately I've decided now to come back on the 8th. I can just go to the system and extend the delegation to a particular date, to 8th, and say extend. So guys, you notice we've thought of everything here. We've ensured that everything you could think of, you can is basically available. So one of the best things about our system is the leave policy itself. The kind of leave policy we've given you, very few HRMSs in the country would do. We've thought of everything to basically ensure that your productivity is maintained. You can create a policy, give it a name, give it a description, and you can specify here the salary calculation methods. The salary calculation method could be working days, no time calculation. Now this means that even if you get a single login in the day, the employee will be marked as a full day present. That's what this means. We can say time as per shift, which means he will have to work the full hours of his shift. If his shift was basically 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., we need to see logins that take place at 6 o'clock or before 6 o'clock, and we need to see logouts taking place post 2 o'clock. Otherwise, he would be marked as a half a day. We can also basically talk about productive hours here. You see in the time as per shift, we are only concentrating on the first in and the last out. And that has to be as per the shift time over and beyond the shift time. But if you're looking at minimum log hours calculation, then we are not looking at the first in and the last out. We are looking at how many hours did the employee spend inside the office. What we are looking at here is productive hours. So we say you came in at 9 o'clock, great. But then you left at 10 o'clock and you came back at 12 o'clock. So your productive hours will be counted as only 1 hour. So when we say 8 hours minimum productive hours, it means 8 hours minimum the resource has to be inside the office, working at his workstation. This is minus your lunch breaks, the tea breaks, the cigarette breaks, or whatever breaks you take. So salary will be based on productive hours. That's what this means. We also have an option here for overtime. We talk about in case there is overtime, what is the minimum overtime you would like to look at. Maybe you say minimum overtime is 4 hours. So if the employee spent 30 minutes extra, we don't pay him for that 30 minutes. We pay him only if it's half a day extra. That means a minimum of 4 hours overtime will be considered. So you can choose your minimum overtime period. In the policy rules here, we can consider employees present for the next day. Now, this very often is a problem where an employee works very late in the night, goes home like 3 o'clock in the morning, but unfortunately, the attendance marks him next day as late or next day as absent, although he couldn't come the next day because he's worked till almost 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning on the previous day. So we do give you a choice here saying consider the employee present for the next day. If he continuously worked for more than so many hours, you can specify here, let's say he worked for 20 hours or on the previous day, we will automatically consider him present for the next day. So that's one of the policy rules. We have late coming rules to bring in time discipline in case it's required. You can say that you have a grace time of 15 minutes every day, and we can say we have a grace late days of 3, which means we understand 3 days if you come late. We can also say in case you basically worked, I'm putting the grace time at 1.5 hour here. In case on the previous day you worked for more than 15 hours, you went home very late, naturally you cannot come back on time the next day. So we've taken that also into consideration. And in case you want to impose a penalty for those people who are late, we can say the late penalty is 1 for every 3 days that he's late, over and above the grace period that we've given him. We can say we will mark him as a half day LOP or a full day LOP, thereby causing a loss to the resource in terms of money to basically enforce time discipline. Apart from that, we do have your casual leaves, the number that you would like to give them, whether it's it can be carried over, or whether it's encashable, what percentage is encashable. We also talk about when this has to be credited. You'd like to credit it monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, or yearly. And in case it's encashable, when is it encashable? Is it encashable a monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, yearly, or only at the time of separation? At the time of separation, sorry. Beg your pardon. Now this, you notice, takes care of almost all those little things that most small and medium enterprises would be worried about. As a small and medium enterprise ourselves, we are worried about these things, and HAPA ensures that it takes care of all of them for you. Apart from those little things which I'm trying to demonstrate to you, we have an own mailbox here. So in case you do not have email IDs for all your employees, you don't have to worry, they will still get the system messages. They cannot send out mails from here, but they can receive mails, they can receive messages when their leave has been approved, they can receive messages when their leave has been rejected. That will come into the inbox here, even if they didn't have a mailbox, external mailbox configured by the system. Apart from this, you can see that we have, let me just go to my pending completion tasks here and see if I've got something apart from leave management which I can demonstrate to you. Unfortunately, I don't have any apart from leave management in my current system to demonstrate to you. Interestingly, I can also look at people who are reporting to me, how many of their tasks are pending. So let's say I have somebody here who's got a task pending for hire which is not approved. I can approve it on his behalf or reject it because I'm a senior. So maybe this task has not yet been completed by him for some reason, and I can still button and view that task, and I can approve it and reject it on his behalf. Additionally, for the completion tasks, I can remind him to complete the task, saying, boss, you need to get this completed. Or if I know this resource is extraordinarily busy today, I can decide to assign it to another team member to complete for now. I can decide who this member is, and then I can click on OK. So this task gets reassigned to that member. HAPA is all about completing these tasks. It's all about task management. And if you're able to basically simply complete those tasks on time, the system will run as smoothly as ever. What we do have for you in the self-service is, apart from leave applications, you can view your profile, of course, the remote attendance, delegation tasks. You can look at a series of reports telling you about your attendance, telling you about your leave buckets. You can submit resignations online. You can ask for a special leave request. Special leave requests are usually related to either compassionate leave or maternity leave or paternity leave. And you can also basically raise an asset request. We've got a complete asset management module embedded for you, where you can request for a laptop or you can request for a specific asset, and it will go to stores. Of course, after your approval takes place from your either your asset could be a new asset or a replacement. It needs approval, of course, so it will go to the respective approving authorities. I can say I want a new asset. I can specify for which employee I want this request made, and send it out to store. And your entire asset management, in terms of basically what all your assets, what all assets you own, and what is the value of those assets, where those assets lie at which point of time, completely is available to you at the system. In case it's a replacement asset, you can say, I already have this asset, but currently it's not working, so I would like to replace it. So you can also specify for a replacement asset. In the operations, we've got performance issues can be raised. We have out-of-turn appraisals that can be requested. We can map shifts of our employees, and we can make change requests where we'd like to change their department or their designation or their location. Apart from this, we do have the administration section to add logins for our employees, modify their logins, assign workstations to them. Let me just show you this assign workstation screen. I'm going to try and basically again assign workstation to one of my resources. I specify which building, which location, which floor would I like to assign this workstation on, and it will show me all the workstations that are free in green. The ones that are occupied would be the ones in red. The free ones are the ones in green. I can choose any of these workstations which are here, and then decide to basically allocate it to the resource. So let me choose one of these workstations, and I click on save for the allocation to take place. You notice here, this is the workstation which I'm assigning to this resource now. I've got this radio button checked. I can click on save, and this workstation will get basically assigned to this resource. I also can basically look at an asset handover. This is automated. You don't really have to go to the screens. In case a person is getting relieved and he has to hand over his assets, a task will get created to the store department requesting them to take the asset handover from that particular employee. So you may not really need to go to these screens at all in terms of your basically day-to-day work. In the master data management, we have your shifts, where you can basically have various shifts for your employees they work on. You can also basically have your global weekly off, where you can specify what kind of weekly offs you have. Let me show you one of our weekly offs here. We can look at this here. In this, every Sunday is on holiday, and we also give every second Saturday, and every fourth Saturday is on holiday. So you can create multiple of these weekly off policies, and depending on the resource, the department or the business unit or the division, you can assign these weekly offs to those resources, so that not everybody has a universal policy. Maybe your support team has to work 6 days a week, whereas maybe your marketing team works only 5 days per week. So you could have multiple policies there too. In the human resources, the HR is allowed to basically specify the holidays that are available. Let's look at the holidays we currently have. You can see these are the holidays which have been put in for 2013, and you can add the holidays for 2014, 2015. We've taken care of very little things here. We understand that sometimes when setting holidays for this year, it would be great to have a look at the last year's holidays. It would help you most probably set this year's holidays. So we at all times give you, you can see here the 2011 and 2012 we weren't using HAPA, so there's no holidays here. But I see the 2013 holidays here, and I can also set the 2014 holidays before we kick into 2014. So that's the holiday concept which we have. We also basically can assign uniforms in case they have uniforms, or we can basically look at termination rates, termination requests. This is all done by the HR, of course, in terms of basically how it works. In terms of approval, we do have something called a global approval setting which is available. Let me just find that for you. Global approval setting should be available to us under business settings. We have global approval settings here where we can decide approve leave for employees. You notice we said that we want 2 approvals, 1 from the reporting manager and 1 from the business unit head. You can of course change this. You can customize this. You can decide who needs to approve the leave. Whether you want only 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, it's completely decided by the system, by you, and you can customize it to your liking. You notice in our approved payroll system, we have up to 4 approvers. We don't have a 5th one in our company. We have 4 approvers. The first approval has to come from the business unit head. Then it has to get approved by the HR head. Then it gets approved by the finance head. And finally, the company head needs to basically approve this. So we have 4 approvals for payroll in case the payroll was getting processed. And all of this, you don't have to go to any screens. I repeat, the beauty of the system is you just have to focus on these tasks. Even the approval for payroll will come to you as a completion tasks, where you look at each employee's payroll, you decide if you want to hold a particular payroll, or you specify the reason why you want to hold it, and then you go ahead and approve it. Now, HAPA, like I told you, was meant for small and medium enterprises, and we designed it keeping in mind the struggles that we have, not only as entrepreneurs and managers, also as employees, in clarity in the system. Here, the system brings clarity. It also basically brings you a complete automation to your end-to-end processes, streamlining them and ensuring you pick the maximum productivity and creating a complete systematic approach to people management than the course and that you normally would basically see in a small and medium enterprise. It leaves you as a manager, it leaves you as an employee to focus more on your core activity, focus more on productivity, focus more on doing your job right, than actually be worried about all these little things in terms of basically people management. HAPA would take care of everything for you. I'm signing off right now with this demonstration. We will create many more videos. Look out for them. Connect to our Twitter account. We got a Twitter account, G7CR HAPA is the handle. Connect to it, and we will bring in lots more of these videos showing you how to work with the system, showing you tips and tricks of how you can make your life much more easier with HAPA. And thank you so much for all of you for listening to this video right now. Stay connected. This is Christopher, Chief Software Architect, G7CR Technologies, and also Architect of HAPA, signing off this evening. You can reach me too in case you have any questions, technical or functional on the product. You can reach me on my email address. That's Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Chris, at the rate of g7cr.com. That's where I would be reachable. Thank you all once again, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye from Chris again.